Today on Discover Wisconsin, we're heading to Kenosha to get a taste of life on the lakeside.
Hello and welcome to Discover Wisconsin.
This is an anthem for those who look for more and never say they've seen it all. Windows down, let's take a ride. The good land's great tonight.
Welcome to Kenosha. This revitalized lakefront city is bursting with culture, activities, and experiences you're not going to find anywhere else in the state. And today on Discover Wisconsin, we're going to show you a bit of just that. Climb aboard. Kenosha, Wisconsin's fourth largest city, is located in the state's southeastern corner on the shores of Lake Michigan. There's so much to do and see in Kenosha, and it really all starts on the lakeshore. So the first things you might notice along the lakeshore in Kenosha are these vintage-looking streetcars. They really are an iconic part of the scene here in Kenosha.
The Kenosha streetcars are a great way to take a quick tour of downtown Kenosha. I always say that when people come and I get to talk to them, the best part of my day is showing the place off.
When you think about city buses, they all look the exact same, but when it comes to these streetcars, each one's unique.
Each one is unique, and they are painted in color schemes that cities that had this particular kind of streetcars, how they would have looked.
I love it. Each have their own little personality.
They each have their own personality.
If you're here on a Saturday, I recommend hopping off at the Kenosha HarborMarket.
It's a very big market. There's a lot of people here, live music, so this is one of our best markets that we go to. We bring our brick oven here, and we make brick oven pizzas made to order. Pretty much everybody that works for us is family. So right today I have 3 of my kids and 2 brother-in-laws, and it's a lot of fun.
The HarborMarket is actually just steps away from a handful of museums in downtown Kenosha. So whether you're into dinosaurs or Civil War history or science, there is a museum here for you to check out in Kenosha.
At the Civil War Museum, we tell the stories of men, women, children from the upper Midwest. We tell stories that you can't find in books. You can't find it at battlefields. We tell stories about people. A lot of people ask us, why a Civil War Museum in Kenosha? And the reason is the upper Midwest, the 7 states that we represent, it's really kind of an untold story in the Civil War. 49% of the Union Army came from those 7 states, over 1 million men. We also had a tremendous amount of natural resources. The woods, the North Woods were being harvested. A lot of materials such as lead coming out of southwestern Wisconsin. Those were all important to the war effort and keeping our country together at that time.
I also highly recommend checking out the Southport Light Station Museum. Climb the 72 steps up to the top of the lighthouse, which was built in 1866 for an amazing view of Kenosha's lakeshore.
This is Kenosha's Maritime Museum, including the lighthouse history, shipwreck history, and some of the other maritime history around this area. This was one of the oldest maritime buildings on the port here in Kenosha. We first settled the town here in 1835, and this was built just a short time later in 1866. And you have a chance to see a lot of the artifacts that the keepers used to use while taking care of the lake here and making sure the mariners can find their way.
The lakeshore is also a backdrop for live music here in Kenosha, thanks to a concert series called Peanut Butter and Jam. A lot of people bring their own blankets and lawn chairs and just kind of kick back and enjoy the tunes. It really is an ideal way to end your day on the lakeshore. Head to discoverwisconsin.com to start planning your trip to Kenosha's lakeshore. Up next, I try something I've never done before. I'm not gonna lie, that was actually kind of terrifying. And Eric attempts to catch his lunch. Stick around. Welcome back to Kenosha, right here on Discover Wisconsin. For those who prefer to do their exploring by bike, Kenosha has plenty of opportunities to get out on the trails or the track. So Chris, this is a sport I literally knew nothing about before today. So this has been eye-opening in every single way. Can you kind of sum up for me what this is all about?
So this is track cycling. A lot of people's first experience with track cycling is in the Olympics because it is an Olympic sport and they'll see it in the Velodrome. But track cycling is on a track bike, which means no brakes and it's just one gear. When your wheel is moving, your pedals are moving, and that's track racing.
So this is my first time even seeing a velodrome. How many are there in Wisconsin?
This is the only one in Wisconsin.
The only one. Do you know how many there are in the U.S.?
There's about 26 in the U.S.
That's it. This one is the oldest.
Correct.
Wow,
Correct.
that's crazy. A little bit of history right here in Kenosha.
Yes, exactly. Missing out is one of the races that we're doing tonight. Basically, the last one across the line with the tail of their tire is out. And then it just keeps going down, who's ever that last one. So there's a little bit of strategy that has to go on in order not to be last.
I would definitely be the last one at racing, that's for sure. I'm not gonna lie, that was actually kind of terrifying. I just kind of white knuckled the entire time. So my arms are actually really sore now and my neck, but I'm a newbie, so what do you expect? I think anyone who's looking to experience something new, just as a spectator, this is a really cool piece of history that we can take advantage of right here in Wisconsin. If mountain biking is more your style, I recommend heading west of the city to Silver Lake County Park.
Here we have 10 miles of single track trail that was professionally designed and then built by volunteers to offer something for everyone. It's designed to get you into a more intimate relationship with nature.
We started because our parents have been mountain biking for a long time, and so when we were really little, they got us into it.
I love mountain biking because you get to learn like shifting and you get to go fast.
I definitely think people should come here because the trails here are really fun and they're hard, but if you're like starting out, there's a lot of easy trails.
Watching them learn new skills and build their confidence is fantastic for me. It makes me proud. There's no better feeling than seeing your kids accomplish something that they didn't think they could do.
A trip to this area really isn't complete without getting out on the water. And so, on what turned out to be a really beautiful morning, I headed out on Lake Michigan with Captain Russ from the Kenosha Charter Boat Association.
So, Russ, we've been blessed with a beautiful day out here.
It really doesn't get much better than this.
I know, and we're right off the waters in Kenosha here. Now, what kind of fish would we be most likely to catch here today?
Today we're mostly going to be catching silver salmon or coho salmon. We might occasionally see a king salmon. It's a little bit early yet for them, but predominantly we're going to see coho.
I got to tell you, it felt great to be out on Lake Michigan. And it was just so peaceful. The weather was wonderful. The colors were gorgeous. And we had all these rods and reels just waiting for fish to bite. And they did.
When I get people on the boat that really haven't fished much and they come out here and they catch the biggest fish of their life, and just the amazement on their face is what really does it for me. If I never reeled in another fish, that'd be fine. As long as I could witness that, that'd be great.
All right, we've been fishing for about 5 minutes. Boom. And we're talking fresh lunch here.
When we got back to the marina, Captain Russ showed me how to gut and clean the fish, so we had these beautiful fillets. Then we took them right next door to the Boathouse Pub, where we had an amazing shore lunch. Now that's where they bring your fresh caught fish back into the kitchen and prepare it 3 different ways: baked, fried, and Cajun-style blackened, and all of it was fantastic.
It was swimming around an hour or 2 before. You can't get any fresher or any more real than that. R-E-A-L real, not R-E-E-L, but I guess both works.
Go to discoverwisconsin.com and download a free itinerary for your own trip to Kenosha.
And when we come back, it's all about the food scene here in Kenosha. We're back, living life on the lakeside here in Kenosha. The food scene in Kenosha is incredible. From locally owned restaurants to shops that grew from HarborMarket vendors to iconic Kenosha mainstays like this one. The Mars Cheese Castle has long been a landmark for I-94 travelers.
The Mars Cheese Castle is a mecca for cheese lovers around the world to come to in Wisconsin. We are ambassadors for what is all things dairy, and we represent ourselves as the one-stop destination for people who come into the state and want to quintessentially see what the Cheese Castle is all about and what Wisconsin is all about. My grandparents, Mario and Martha Ventura, are the ones who established the store, and their nickname for each other was Mar, because it's Mario and Martha. So they would say, Mar, come here, Mar, what's for dinner, Mar, don't sit on the counter, And that's how the Mars Cheese Castle came to be.
All right, Dudley, I hear Mars Cheese Castle is famous for their grilled cheese sandwiches. I need you to tell me everything you can about the sandwich.
Yeah, no problem.
Show me how it's done.
Okay.
It was actually pretty simple, pretty easy for me to help him put it together. I'd say the more butter, the better. It was basically just a ton of cheese.
Looks like it's nice and gooey. That's what we're looking for.
Yeah.
Bottom is toasted. We're gonna move it over here.
Okay.
There you go. Nice gooey grilled cheese.
It was one of the gooeyest, no, it was the gooeyest grilled cheese I've ever had in my life. It was so good.
It was perfection.
Another Kenosha favorite that offers a truly unique and fun dining experience is the House of Gerhardt.
House of Gerhardt is a German-American restaurant here in Kenosha. We've been in business for 54 years, family-owned the entire way through. We focus on old world cuisine with some of Gerhardt's famous recipes, but also it's a traditional Wisconsin supper club. Everything from fillets and steaks on the American chop side. We are famous for prime rib. Also our German specialties, sauerbraten, rouladen, our brandy old fashions are all hand muddled. Our ice cream drinks we're famous for, we pride ourselves in. It's 1 pound of ice cream muddled with your liquor of choice or whatever, Brandy Alexander's, grasshoppers, things like that. They're mile high and they're absolutely wonderful. Preserving our heritage is so important because it's who we are. And it's a family tradition, and for us, that's important.
Kenosha's food scene basically has it covered when it's time for dessert, too. Here at Elsie Mae's Bakery and Cannery and Myrtle Mae's Sugar Emporium, they've got everything from delicious baked treats to all kinds of sweets. So on the Elsie Mae side, where you do all this baking and canning, I'm noticing a lot of little tiny pies out front. Is that your specialty, or what else do you do?
So definitely, hands down, mini pies is our specialty. And so we sell 100 mini pies to every full-size pie. And that's because what we're all about is the variety of pies. So every weekend, we'll have 30 plus varieties of mini pies, and people love to mix and match.
I see everything from strawberry rhubarb to s'more pie. These all look fantastic. Kelly and I got together and made cherry pie. I had never, honest to God, I've made cookies. I've never made a pie in my life, but I think I learned from the best.
We're gonna use 4 scoops of cherries. Yeah, in the summer, we use 2,000 pounds of fresh local produce a week.
How come yours look so much better than mine?
It doesn't. They're gonna look the same. They both look the same. We won't even know whose pie is who at the end.
We'll see about that. I think for my first pie, it was pretty darn phenomenal. It looked spectacular, and it was just packed with great cherry flavor. And I'm just gonna say it was awesome. A huge chunk of my family is from Kenosha, and one of the best things every summer is Taste of Wisconsin. It happens right down at Harbor Park along the lake. It's so gorgeous right there, and there's no better way to stuff your face than with that food at Taste of Wisconsin. It's the last weekend in July every year here in Kenosha.
Big thanks to Mark M. for sending us his gorgeous photos of Kenosha. Use hashtag #DiscoverWisconsin on social media to get your photos featured in a future episode. Don't go away. When we come back, knights, players, William Shakespeare, and the Queen herself, only in Kenosha.
Welcome back to Kenosha, Life on the Lakeside, right here on Discover Wisconsin. One of the things I love about the Kenosha area is that there are so many unique, one-of-a-kind places and experiences that you just can't find anywhere else. And one of those places is the Jelly Belly Visitor Center in Pleasant Prairie.
Our Jelly Belly experience is taking the train, and you learn about the candy making from start to finish. A lot of people don't know that it takes 7 to 10 days to make a Jelly Belly jelly bean. We have over 100 different flavors of Jelly Belly beans, whether it's our top flavors like Very Cherry, Buttered Popcorn, Licorice, and Juicy Pear, or to maybe some of our fun flavors like Barf and Rotten Egg and Dead Fish, Spoiled Milk, and the new one, Minion Fart. It's a great overall experience, and we hope that people will come again and again and see us.
There's no question that Kenosha has a ton of opportunities that the whole family can enjoy. And one of them is America's favorite pastime, but it's always better in Wisconsin. I think if you're bringing the family to Kenosha, you should bring them to a Kingfish game. It's a very family-friendly atmosphere. It's great baseball. And it's just a good, all-around, all-American experience at a very historic ballpark. They call it historic Simmons Field for a reason. This field actually dates back to the 20s. Among teams that have played here include the All-American Girls Professional Baseball League, made famous in a league of their own. Remember the Rockford Peaches? They play the Kenosha Comets. So of course, you're in your Discover Wisconsin co-host. You can't just sit and watch. You have to participate in some way, shape, or form. So I participated in the bubble ball competition. It was me versus this slender 15-year-old kid. I got him good at second. Felt a little bad about that. So I slowed up at home, let him take a shot at me, and he did.
Visitors to the Kenosha area also have the unique opportunity to travel back in time at the Bristol Renaissance Fair. I am doing exactly that today as Maiden Mariah. When you walk through the gates here, it is a whole different world. I love that everyone here is in character and you can really delve into the 16th century. What's the name?
My name is William Shakespeare, my lady. And yours?
Mariah.
Lady Mariah, well met. A delight, I promise.
Likewise. What year is it?
It is 1574, the year of our Lord.
So this entire world, I'm going to call it a world here because it is more than just a few little pop-up tents. The Bristol Renaissance Fair is a big deal. It's a world. What is it all about? What do you guys offer here?
It's about the opportunity to explore fantasy, to find yourself in a realm you had perhaps never before imagined or even dallianced with when thou wert a small child or a young boy or a young girl. You may have dreamt of dragons and adventures on the high seas. We have pirates, we have dragons, we have sculptures, we have knights, we have jousting, some incredible performers.
And they really do, they interact with the people. They're not just, up on the stage, they are interacting with the people who are coming here to take in the Renaissance Fair. I love that. It is magical. That's a good word for it. It's magical. How else would you describe the Renaissance Fair experience?
Twixt magical, I would say it is also high fantastical. I came up with that word.
That's a good one, though. You're Shakespeare, you come up with words.
Hurly burly.
I have to say, one of my favorite parts about the Bristol Renaissance Fair is watching the jousting.
I am Sir Edron of Aquitaine. I am one of Her Majesty's knights, and I joust upon the tilt yard for the Queen herself. What I love about jousting is it truly is a sport of honor. You're there, you're not attacking the knight at any one spot, you only attack your shield. So it is within your honor and his honor and the trust you share to only hit in the right spot to score points. You must time yourselves out and give yourself a good target for the other knight. So as much as you're working against each other, you're working with each other.
The Renaissance Fair is totally for anyone. I mean, whether you're a kid, you've got a family coming in, or just a couple coming in, or you just want to check it out by yourself, it's something to see. It's something you're gonna want to take in your lifetime at least once, or if you're like me, you're gonna come back again and again. Kenosha is a fantastic place. I love that this city really does embrace the old and the new.
I've known Kenosha all my life, basically, and it's amazing how this city's transformed. You've got the museums, you've got the festivals, so I mean, people can come here and have fun all kinds of different ways.
It is a really special place here in southeastern Wisconsin. Our crew had such a blast filming here, and I, for one, cannot wait to be back.
These are fish scales. Guy was flopping around hitting my shoe.
Discover Wisconsin is the state's leading media brand. Continue the adventure at discoverwisconsin.com and stream episodes on YouTube and Roku TV.